Once upon a time, there was a man in Ungwa community. He was known in the whole of Ungwa community. His name was Okafor. Okafor was a blind man who was well known in the whole community. He was friendly and has a good sense of humor. But Okafor lacked one thing, or rather, he has a problem. And that problem was Okafor not being able to keep secrets because he was the village gossip. People feared from telling Okafor secrets because they knew he was never the type that keeps secrets, despite the fact that he was blind. There came a time that there was a great famine in the land, but Okafor was always favored by the king because of his friendly nature and especially his sense of humor. Everywhere and everyone was hungry in the community because there was a serious famine in the land. One day, Okafor remembered his good friend, the king, and decided to go and ask him for food because he knew there's always enough food in the king's palace. Okafor knew his way around the whole village, even as a blind man. He started the journey and arrived at the king's palace in the evening. The king was very excited to see him. He gave him a warm welcome and asked him what made him journey to his palace. Okafor smiles, and to the king's greatest surprise, "May you continue to live long. May your reign be long and forever." The king smiled happily at Okafor. Okafor told the king that as he's already aware that there's a famine in the land, and knowing that the king's palace has never lacked food and can never be empty, and there can never be famine in the king's house, he came to ask the king for food. The king smiled and asked the guards to bring him yam and some other foodstuffs. Okafor was very excited and he began to eulogize the king and his reign. When he wanted to leave, the king called him back and warned him not to tell anyone where he got all those food items from. Okafor agreed and went on his way. On his way going back, it was already night. He met the cripple. They exchanged pleasantries, and the crippled asked him where he's coming from with so much foodstuffs. When everyone is dying of hunger in the village, Okafor smiled despite the fact that he was blind. He could sense hunger from his voice. Okafor, being the blind village gossiper, he forgot the king's warning and he told him that he's coming from the king's palace, and he gave him all those foodstuffs. The cripple was happy with the information. He started his journey to the king's palace the next morning as the cock crowed. He got to the palace and the king was surprised to see him. The king asked him what brought him to his palace. The cripple told the king that he met Okafor the blind gossip on his way from the palace yesterday, and he told him the king gave him all the food items. The king was shocked, but then he already knew Okafor is a blind gossip. He gave the cripple yam and some food items too, and he went his way. Before he left, the king called him back and told him if anybody asks him where he got those food items from, he should not tell them where he got them from. Just as Okafor agreed, the cripple agreed and went his way from the palace. He met a very poor man. The poor man was shocked to see him with lots of food items. When he asked him where he got them from, he told him it was from the king's palace. The poor man decided to go to the king and ask for some food items too. The king was puzzled and asked where he got the information from and who told him. The poor man told the king that he met the cripple on his way from the palace and he told him where he got all the food items from. The king was very surprised. The king shook his head. He gave the poor man some yam and some food items too. As he was about to leave, he called him back and told him the same thing he told the cripple and the blind gossip. If anybody asks him where he got the food item from, he should tell them nothing. The poor man agreed and went his way. On his way home, he met an armed robber. The robber asked the poor man where he got his food from. When he's dying of hunger, the poor man told him he got them from nobody. The robber allowed him and went his way. The robber went to the king's palace and asked him for food. The king asked him to go to Okafor, the blind gossip house, and the cripple to get them. That night, the robber went to Okafor house and robbed him. He then went to the cripple house to rob him too and took all the food items from them. Okafor couldn't do anything because he was blind, and the cripple couldn't do anything either because he couldn't walk. They both went to the king's palace the next day and told the king what happened, how they were both robbed of all the food items they got from the king. The king told them since they thought saying anything and everything they see and heard is good. So he told the robber where to find them and get his own share from them. The king sent for the poor man in their presence immediately and made him the steward in the palace, and the poor became rich and never lacked anything. That is the end of the story. What do you learn from this story? Please drop your comment in the comment section and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.